Greetings. In this video I'll be painting an Impulsor from the Retributors Chapter. This chapter was requested by a viewer. If you've got a chapter you'd like to see, let me know in the comments and I'll add it to my list. This model is wholly custom, with parts from various creators. There's a disclaimer in the description. I've made the pauldrons myself by editing existing pauldrons with embossed to vector art. Again, more information is in the description. After assembly, I primed the model black with my airbrush, though you can use a rattle can spray primer if you prefer. For the first step, I applied Mechanicus standard grey all over the miniature in a few thin coats. Doing multiple thin coats can help produce a smoother finish, without obvious brush marks. To highlight the grey armour, I went with Stormvermin fur. It's more brown than grey, but I think it suits the source material a bit better than going with pure greys. It's a subtle finish, but I think it helps keep the grey colour whilst making it a bit more believable. Next I switched to Abaddon black for the black undersuit and similar details. I also painted in the various markings with this colour. I went with a halved knee pad representing the 4th company. I painted the Impulsor tactical marking to represent a sergeant. Sergeants get black markings, while standard brothers get white markings. I needed to do some freehanding here. This is for the squad number within the company. I went with a 2nd squad, mainly because I felt it would be the easiest to paint. I also did the marking on the forehead. I went back to grey to paint in the other half of the squad number. Off camera, I switched between the two colours to clean up. Now onto the metallic details. Starting with Iron Warriors for the silver details, such as the weapon casing, respirator grille, and power pack details. I briefly switched back to the black to do the ribbing on the power pack. For the gold, I used Retributor Armour. This was painted on the Armorial and the Imperialis. Going back to the silver, I used Runefang steel to highlight all the metal details, as well as dotting the rivets present on the armour. When highlighting, I noticed I forgot this detail on the bolter, so I went back to gold for this. Onto Mephiston red now, for the lenses. The Manticora pattern bolt gun has an ammo counter in red, so I painted that in, as well as a little sensor on the front. Evil Sunz Scarlet followed, highlighting the previous colours. There's no way I could write anything on that ammo counter, so I vaguely did 2 lines to represent 2 digits. Next, I used Wild Rider red to further highlight, focusing more towards the middle of the helmet. Finally, I used Lugganath orange to do a small line, representing the centre of the glow. Onto weathering now. I decided to use Baneblade brown, as I felt it matched the reference, as well as complementing the grey. At this point I was considering using a bunch of weathering products, such as pigment powder or liquid pigment, but after the next step I decided against it, not wanting to overdo it. For an enamel wash I used AK's Dark Sepia pin wash, applying a thin coat over most of the model. I let it pool a bit towards the bottom of some panels, which I think helps provide a transition of grime. I did avoid the Impulsor marking however, as getting between the chevrons would have smoothed them out too much. After I let it to cure, I noticed the black magazine was looking a little too flat, so I got out a metallic weathering pencil and decided to give it a go. I just did some little lines, but I think it fixed the problem. I left it to fully dry before doing my basing method, followed by an ultramatte varnish. And here we have it, an Impulsor from the Retributors Chapter. This was a daunting one for me. Even though I'm really pleased with the result, I didn't want this to look like raw plastic. The weathering and the off-grey colours used for highlights definitely carried this paint job. I wanted to use the Mark 7 armour for this one, though I'm spoiled by the better proportions introduced with the Primaris Marines, and even with the Nucadians. So I had to go third party for this one. I sincerely hope that when they do expand into the scouring, that they bring out models for the Aquila and Errant pattern armours in the new Age of Darkness Horus Heresy scale. Of course not forgetting upscaled Maximus and Heresy patterns too. As I mentioned earlier, this chapter was requested by one of you guys. I hope you liked it. I think I did good, but let me know in the comments what you'd have done differently, or any requests you have. Anyway, I hope you stick around for the next one.